James Harden can no longer do the thing where he pretends like something terrible has happened to him in exchange for some reward.
He can do it, but he'll just cost his team a technical foul, and that's going to try to stop flopping. I think it's totally ineffective. If I'm coaching a team, I'm going for the flop still.
Wait, so the rule now is a technical foul is assessed, non-unsportsmanlike.
Which means it doesn't count toward your ejection, doesn't count toward the Draymond Green situation.
But there is a free throw.
And possession.
And if, of course, your challenge is successful, it does not count against your tally of challenges.
That's two separate things. You're conflating the two things because you were watching the baseball game. The flopping rule is the rule. Then there's another thing about coaches' challenges. It has nothing to do with flopping.
So the point being, noted, the point being that these two rule changes are changing the physics of in-game decision-making in the NBA.
Yes, the challenge one is a big one because it used to be coaches had one challenge, and we'd spend all sorts of time. Why are you using your challenge now? It's too early. Now you can use your challenge, and if you win, you get another challenge. If you lose, you're done. So you better have good video, people.
But the point about the flopping stuff is that this had been a letter of the law issue that forever had been exploited to the consternation of everybody, but it had become an art form. Marcus Smart is on that side of the aisle with Trae Young and James Harden. These guys who become stuntmen and have a craft in so doing that has been wildly effective because there had not been a penalty. And so a big question at the league office, David, always faces is how to keep up with people who are gaming the system, who are exploiting the letter of the law in contravention of its spirit.
You're always going to be behind. The league office is always behind. It's the same with drug testing. It's the same with the salary cap. The league is always chasing its tail. Do you know the definition of flopping that I had not realized until this story broke? And it was rumored, and I talked about it on Nothing Personal because I was shocked by this. You can be accused of a flop if your intent was to mislead the referee. I love that.
I
love that the referee
yes.
is involved, that your intent is not to draw the foul, or your intent is you just got beaten, so you might as well try to flop even when you're not gotten hit. If they can somehow look inside your brain and say you're trying to show up the referee or make the crowd go against them, there's stuff like this in baseball.
But that is what a flop is. I'm confused what a flop is trying to make the ref think something happened that didn't.
It's trying to draw an offensive foul, or it's trying to exaggerate the contact that already existed.
You're not including charges.
But why else would they be doing it other than for the referee? Like, the referee is an obvious part of a flop. Like,
I thought they want to make it easier on the referees, but you still have the challenge. So the rule now says that if the referee believes it's a flop, they call the flop, and then you can challenge it if you want. But I don't think people will. And then the penalty is the technical foul.
I mean, clearly you're not including charges in this situation near the restricted area, right? Going towards the basket.
Behind the dotted line?
Yeah, or in front of the dotted line in this case.
That would just be an offensive foul. I thought that put the dotted line in there again to help the referees. So I assume the flop rule was to help the referees.
I believe the flop rule is going to encourage referees to be judges and juries in which they are going to assess, was this person's seeming incompetence, them falling down, or their apparent injury, is this something that was done with malice? Was it done with the intent to mislead? And they're going to be the ones deciding that, which means that the theater of this, the theater of pleading, the theater of trying to convince them that actually this thing was authentic, I was authentically clumsy, or I was authentically so seemingly lying about this because I was, in fact, I lost my footing.
Doesn't this exist in soccer, where it's theater, where you're trying to explain? I saw this on Ted Lasso. Hey, stay down. He said, Sam, stay down. When you get up, I'm going to want you to limp. You got to look like you're hurt. I assume that's what's always going on in soccer.
Across all sports, though.
Who flops in football?
I mean, the idea that you would fake an injury.
Wide receivers, cornerbacks, like pass interference calls, there's always
Oh,
yes.
Quarterbacks have flopped famously.
A receiver like flailing his arms like he was held.
Flail.
Yeah.
But all of that stuff, the theatrics of drawing the attention of a referee, what these rules are now trying to do is say, if you try to do that and we notice that you're trying to lie to us, That is a technical foul.
So is it the quarterback when they're pushed at the end of a pass? They get the ball off.
Yeah.
They're just pushed, and all of a sudden they fall back 40 feet.
Yeah, I mean, I think
that's a flop.
That maybe. I mean, also, maybe sometimes it's not.
Actual
it's hard
physical
to
violence in
determine
football.
because football players are extremely large. So if a football player pushed me, I would probably fall back theatrically. But Pablo, referees already do this. Like, they're already determining intent with the degree of fouls that are given in a game. So I don't necessarily see the distinction.
I think the distinction is going to be the technical foul because now there's teeth. Now if the referee says you're lying, it's not that I don't call it. It's that now you actually get assessed for the attempt to lie to me.
Imagine at the end of a game.
Right? No, it's deterrence.
This is
an
a big
attempt to
change.
deter. It's an attempt to deter people from the calculation that I lose nothing if I try to lie and don't get away with it.
So that's the analytics. When you're telling your players, you don't mind your players trying because there's no penalty. So why wouldn't they try? Now when you're coaching your team, I'm actually telling my players, we don't want to be doing this because we are running the risk of losing what matters, which is the point.
What's your favorite official signal in all of sports?
I love the tiny technical foul.
A tiny technical.
Oh, yeah. You've seen it
Just like a quick little dunk.
There's some NBA referees who do that. They just do this.
the finger,
I like that.
vertical finger, horizontal finger.
No, it's not,
I
it's
like
not just
it.
that. You're blowing the whistle, and then
Yeah.
I like the one where the whole arena thinks it was a charge and it's a block, and he just gets
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
like the hands down to the hips.
Yep.
no, it's the offensive foul. He turns around, does a little run, and then
Dick Bavetta, the Dick Bavetta,
Yep.
I like the umpire, the punch out.
just out at first.
I love
Just-
the home plate, some of the strike
like a
calls.
strike three.
Yeah, you have to have something, right?
Yeah.
You have umpires, when you speak to umpires, they practice this.
I love the little league guys that like run in front of home plate and do a split.
I like any umpire call that feels like it's also a multi-sequence, like karate. Like you're trying to get a blue belt. and you have to- yeah, that. I want all of that. Multiple parts.
It was made famous in The Naked Gun, one of the movies that maybe people have not seen. Oh, sorry, Lucy, birthday girl. There's a very funny scene as an umpire where he takes that bit, which is what you do with a bit, and makes it larger. Because umpires do this. NBA referees are figuring out how they're going to do their block call, their charge call.
Oh, yeah,
their
like Danny
technical call.
Crawford, Joey Crawford.
There
Those
was
guys.
a Danny Crawford and a Joey
They
Crawford.
were both, but Joey, I believe, bald-headed, was the one who would dance from the baseline to the free throw line to signal, I believe, like change of possession.
One of the nicer guys, his brother was an MLB umpire. How's that for a family? An MLB umpire and an NBA referee in the same family.
But you said, socializing with referees and umpires, you said that umpires talk about practicing this stuff.
They do. They have a call. NBA referees, MLB, you have to figure out what your strikeout call is going to be. You don't just, when you're coming up through the ranks, that's part of the evaluation is what your call is going to be.
Wait a minute. What do you mean it's part of your evaluation?
That is
You get
absolutely-
graded like a gymnast in the Olympics. You get
It's
graded.
a dismount. That's how.
Wait, this is fascinating.
That's how do you think umpires, you're judged both on your ability to make the right calls, but also how you are going to be. It's part of the show.
Nobody can point first down like Ed Hockley. I know he's not doing it
yeah.
anymore,
Oh,
but that's
that
the reason.
was
Like, to David's
with
point, that's the reason for his climb. That first down point.
Yeah.
You kidding me? Where he
He's
can't
got
even really
the-
fully do it
because
because
his
he's so
muscles
jacked.
are rippling.
He's got the Tommy John problem when he does it because he doesn't have full extension because he's so big. So he does it in a way that is so. They practice that too.
Comparable to the tiny T is the tiny first down when you get it and they're like,
Yep.
and they kind of just give a little point, no full extension of the arm.
Sometimes less is more. To Tony's point.
I saw Chris for the youtube.com/lebatard audience. You've been seeing Chris just like practicing in his chair
like
as
a
David
baseball
is speaking.
umpire's strike call, like strike one, just wha!
Yeah, see that one. The
A quick jab to the right.
The quick
Ha!
jab. Yeah.
Strike one. Ha! Strike two. Strike three. Ha! Ha!
Actually, there is an umpire who does that.
Zagak.
There'd be a whole great
I
video.
want a reality show. The video I want is the reality show in which umpires have to get in front of other umpires and audition by calling the third strike, calling whatever.
There's also the out at first base. Sometimes when you're punching a guy out at first base, some umpires lift a leg.
Yes.
So when they're punching out, the right leg goes up like a dance move.
I like less is more at first base. Just a point and then a little lean back and a thing.
And
I don't
sometimes
need
there's a
the
lean
whole,
back.
I don't need the whole full punch.
There was a guy that gave a massive punch.
I don't know if you guys saw this. There was a video of the guy who gave like a one of these like out on first base.